And we're live.
And we're live.
I just did this whole dramatic point, and it took
Now,
its sweet.
now this microphone just came out of here. All right, so I decided I'm finally going to go pro and have like a real mic and headphones. In fact, today I was using these Samson headphones. Right over here, I was working on a new song, one of me and Tom's new songs, and I got my cord to work. I did not blow my amp up last night. It was actually just a cable issue. And then I leaned forward and I ripped the headphones out,
Whoa.
out of the out of the thing.
Whoa.
And what?
Hang on.
What's going on?
You're coming. Oh
up?
my goodness. Somehow the YouTube stream was open and it started playing. So I was hearing us and then hearing you and like, yeah, sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Now, as you're saying.
So as it turns out, these headphones, I thought I destroyed yet another pair of Samson headphones, which I love because they've got like a curly cable and like a hard,
I love that.
More of a hardwire cable. I know they sound great. And I leaned forward and God dang it. Fortunately, I had another one up here and I grabbed that. In fact, you know what? Let me show you this. Did I show you this last night? Hang on a second.
I'm a Wasp fan from Wisconsin, so we have a lot in common, Miguel.
As I was cleaning my office, I did find.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh.
And you're not getting them; they're mine.
That's all right. I'm getting the Iron Maiden ones, and I'm not going to get you any.
This is the only one. I thought I had my motor headphones. And I've had them before, and I must have gotten two pair or something because I was pretty certain that they were gone. And I just happened to look, and I opened the box up, and there actually are headphones in here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do they look like? Pull them out.
Let me see if I can get it open. Yeah, it's got kind of a cool. Oh, that's right. So it rips. So it's cool. The case, this box, it actually opens like this.
Yeah, it's like Velcro or something, right?
Yeah, right. And then you can see the headphones. Yeah, there they are. So I'm going to keep those.
Oh, those are dope. You should use those. That's your Huckleberry right there.
Yeah, these are pretty rad.
Those are awesome. Cool. I'm still working on trying to get some of the headphones, those Iron Maiden ones, man. I'm desperately trying to get those. The company that made them had none left, and they're searching their warehouse high and low to try and find me and you a pair. Rick Hughes.
Hey, Rick, what's happening, buddy? Funny, we were just talking about Sword today.
We're always talking about Sword.
We're always talking about Sword, yeah. So, hey, Diana from Germany, how are you? Soul, good night. Angela's always here. Who else? Karen, how are you? We got a lot in America. A lot of our usual suspects tuning in, which is awesome.
Yes,
our midnight family here.
It is a new and improved bat cave, but a bat cave. I actually have like 3 bat caves in this house. So this is the first ever above ground bat cave, really. Usually they're subterranean, but it works.
Yeah. I thought you were still down in the cave. I know. I thought you were in the dungeon, the power dungeon, as you used to call it.
No, the power dungeon is like it's small. This is the upstairs. That's the subterranean layer. This is the above ground one.
Dude, I'm upset. I don't know what happened to this thing.
This
thing has worked so well. I think we used this. Remember when we did our first Radio Combat?
Oh, yeah. Was that the one we used?
I think it is. And that's why it bums me out now that it's not. And then, of course, it's got this whole contraption here in order to mount it. I mean, it's made to be mounted, and it's fully shock mountable, right?
Yeah.
I know it looks odd to be dealing with something like this. It looks.
Yeah. I'm just laughing. I'm just 8 years old and laughing at you saying made to be mounted. Like apparently I'm a 10-year-old.
Oh Jesus! I know. It's not age appropriate here.
Right. Hi, Jen. I think we're all adults here. Close enough, anyway.
We can handle such things. All right.
I think they can handle the word mounted. I think.
Oh, trying to keep it PG-13 here.
No, that's like G. I mean, come on, are you kidding?
G. All right, cool.
So everybody, we got a ton of new stuff on eBay today. While David's playing with his made-to-be-mounted microphone, we got a bunch of new stuff up on eBay today. So David cleaned out his wardrobe case after the Dystopia tour and dug out a bunch of really cool custom made pants and shirts. And if you've seen Megadeth, you know David's one of the best dressed men in rock and roll. And yeah, now we're passing a bunch of that on to you. So there's a bunch of really cool. There's actually a couple of cool pairs of leather pants from the Super Collider tour up there, and then a bunch of cool newer like lip service stuff and super cool stuff. And then there's a set of strings that he used on his Modulus recording Dystopia and all kinds of cool shit. So I actually posted the link in the description of the chat, but I'll post it in here too just to be safe.
You got it to post? Okay, good. Finally. Yeah.
I did. I actually tonight when I made the post that we were going to be live streaming, I put it right in there because I'm a smart fella.
Nice. What a big I know. See, look I got it to hang. It's not mounted, but it's hanging.
Yeah, use it like that. Mount it from the ceiling.
Hey, dude, I saw, it's funny. When I first moved out here to Arizona, 9 Inch Nails came through and did a tour.
The dangle.
I know, the dangle. Well, first you're talking about mounting, and now it's dangling. How you hanging? How's your mic hanging? So, but it was cool. Trent, he had all these different mics hanging from the ceiling, like those 50, those Shure 55.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Like, yeah, and he had a bunch of them, and he would just walk up to a
grab
it, and sing it. That was so freaking metal, man. It was so cool.
I have like 1058 sitting in the other room. I could actually do that now.
You could. You should just have them around your house.
I'll just hang them all around from the ceiling. Yeah. And all the kids will be like, "Hey, those were for us." I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm trying to get in touch with my inner Trent Reznor."
Yeah. I know the Quantum 5.
You got my spidey?
I pulled a bunch out of storage.
Oh.
This one's nice. A silver one. I forgot I even had it. Got the
wow, that's pretty.
This one's great. This one really records nice. These Moduluses, they record nice because the necks are really stable and they stay straight and they don't have any tuning issues. And I mean, I'd probably had this thing 20 years. In fact, you know what? I recorded the F5, the second F5 record with it, The Reckoning, because it was the first time the guys walked in, John and Steve walked in with 7-string guitars and this, which basically would be the B string, the low string, that became the new E string. So they wrote the whole record on it. So I just used this bass and I recorded that whole record. It sounds good.
That's the story. That's the story of the 2000s. B is the new E.
B is the new E. And it really was, wasn't it? It was, dude, it sucks, though, trying to tune. And I think we were tuned a half step down. So, I mean, it just.
So you're really, like C sharp?
Oh, yeah. B
or A.
B flat. B flat.
A sharp. Yeah. Oh, my God.
A sharp. Yep, exactly.
One more wrong note, we're all going to be flat.
Terrible tuning to try to keep the. To keep the low end together, it's just, it's tough. Speakers and speaker cabinets don't like that. They really don't like that tuning. Yeah, it's a good bass. This one's cool.
That is. That's really dope. I don't think I've ever seen that one before.
Yeah.
See, I talk to you 8 hours a day, and I still learn new things.
I know. And I was down when I was at the Platinum Underground the other day recording some stuff. John Ancolino, he goes, "Where's that honey bass?" And I sent it out to Nashville to have it there last year when we're working on Megadeth stuff. And I've actually got a couple of different ones over there now. So I sent the honey one back home. And the honey one is the one that I bought. I didn't record Euthanasia with it. I recorded that with a blue one. It was like a blue maple top. and then I bought the honey one. So I'd have two of them to go on tour with. And that
where's that
lasted?
Where's that Cryptic Writings one? That crazy one with the phenolic neck.
Oh,
where is that?
It's in storage.
Is it?
In storage, yep.
You got to pull that bad boy out.
Yeah, I should actually.
Eventually, we're going to auction that or sell it or do something with it. It's just so crazy and expensive that who the hell will buy it?
I know. I throw it out there. I was talking to somebody just like last month or a couple weeks ago about it, and I just threw it out there. I said, "Hey, don't need to sell it, but if you want to buy it, this is what I'm asking for."
Yeah, so, I know. It's like, look, I mean, the bass alone, without the pedigree of being used on Cryptic Writings, is probably worth $6,000. You know what I mean? It's one of a kind Modulus. You know what I mean?
I think to buy a new Modulus now is like $7,000. They're just so expensive. So yeah, that one alone, and everybody knows I have it. Like in the Modulus world is kind of like this little geek collector world, and so that bass, and everybody knows I have it because I traded it. I actually traded a Modulus to a friend here in town. There's a shop here in town called the Bass Place, and Dennis owns it. Lee has worked there for years, so Lee and we became Modulus geeks, and so anyway, that's how.
Wait, hey, hang on. I gotta do this just so they don't feel bad. There you go. Now you can talk about Modulus. Now we got the Jackson logo up in the corner. So.
There you go. Yeah. No, we're just talking bass geek.
No.
Yeah, because I mean, look, obviously, I'm a Jackson guy through and through. Have been for years. Even in the years I was playing Modulus, I'm still a Jackson guy. But
everybody, when you record, you always use different shit when you record. I mean, again, most people that play Jacksons or Schecters or Ibanez in the studio, half the time they're using Les Pauls, or it's just how it is in the studio. The studio's a different animal. You use a little different stuff, totally, and you still use your Jacksons in the studio and shit. You use your Jacksons.
I just used this one. In fact, I just signed this one for Bill. Where is it today? I just signed it. If you can see it, he's the one who bought this one on eBay this last week. So I literally just signed it today. It's going out the door tomorrow. Funny, he lives in Tucson. I should probably just drive it.
Does he really? Dude, why do you just drive it over to him and just drive
it over there, get some tacos,
and have Roman come and film it, and we'll just it'll be like that'd be awesome.
It certainly is less expensive to just drive there, and then like you say, make a day out of it, get some tacos, maybe see some UFOs. Whatever.
Right, dude, how cool would that be? That guy would shit himself. He just showed up at his door. You should. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Maybe I should do that.
And have Roman come with you and film it. Just knock on the dude's door.
I'm getting bored. Now. I'm ready to do something different. You can social distance in the car driving to Tucson.
You absolutely. Well, you and Roman live together. So you don't have to social distance.
Even with him, I could set it at the end of his driveway, and then he could come out, and then that'll be our social distance.
Yeah, you can ding dong ditch. You can run up and ring the doorbell, and then run back to the end of the driveway.
Ding dong ditch. Jesus, I've never heard that. Ding dong ditch. Is that what that's
really? Yeah, I thought you were from the Midwest.
I am. Ding dong ditch. I've never heard that.
That's when you go and run up and ring someone's doorbell late at night and then run away. Like that's what that was all the rage with the asshole kids when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we did when we were like 11. That was our fun.
Yeah. Karen's been voting for us. Are we falling behind?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even give a shit. It's cool if people vote. I mean, look, whatever bands are killing themselves, like they need it more than we do. We're already in rotation there, I think. But it's just cool that people are voting for us. And so who heard over now on Hard Drive last night, man? It was awesome. I literally went and sat in my car in the driveway and just listened to Hard Drive until it was on. And it was I don't know if you saw, I filmed it, and I posted it on my page last night and on the Ellison page. It was cool. Lou gave this whole little intro talk, and actually he talked about Posty's Nirvana covers. And then he said, speaking of covers, here's Megadeth's David Ellison and his solo band with their, version of Post Malone's Over Now. And it was so cool. Really? And then he talked, and then after, in the end, which I have a video of too, he talks about the Hard Drive Roundtable you and Frank did. And he mentioned that in A&A, and it was actually super cool. He set it up and kind of came out of it with cool little. Thank you, Lou Brutus. We love you.
Yes, Lou, you're awesome, dude. Thank you. Do I have the bass and the Peace Cells video? No. In fact, Adrian, we were just talking about that last night. I recorded the Peace Cells I had two BC Riches. There's a red one. In fact, I saw the picture on Instagram this last year. There's like a picture of us standing like in the hallway, like down in the basement or something of a venue, and I had the red bass, the red Mockingbird. So I recorded a lot of Peace Cells with that, and then the one that I used in the video. But that one in the video, so Dave McRobb, who works for Megadeth, he runs the Cyber Army for us. He first purchased that. We did a big auction on Megadeth.com back in the late 90s because we had a warehouse here in Arizona, in Chandler, Arizona, trucking company called Stage Call.
You mean Megadeth, Arizona?
Yeah, exactly. Where in the world is Megadeth, Arizona? So we had Stage Call, and a lot of people stored there. A lot of artists stored a lot of their gear there. So we had all this stuff. So we did an auction, sold it. Dave McRobb, that bass. Another guy, hey, Kimberly, another fan wanted it, so Dave McRobb sold it to him, and then that guy put it in Cleveland in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it started the heavy metal exhibit at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And so now, of course, there's the Pantera stuff and all these other cool.
Did we didn't even go when we were in Cleveland, did we? I can't believe we didn't.
No.
I went with Chuck Mosley like a year before he passed, which was awesome. But yeah, me and you we didn't go. That's why. Why the hell didn't we go?
Because I've been there, done that kind of, it's funny. I went there when I did the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp tour, which was, I think, in about 2008, 7 or 8, probably 2008, something like that. I went in there. I think I went in there with like Mark Hudson, bunch of guys, it was fun. It was actually cool to walk in. Like we had a big Skinner exhibit, the Madonna brassiere, all the stuff. And in fact, I don't think the Megadeth exhibit was there yet. I think that.
Yeah, see, Mr. Been there, done that. You haven't even seen your own fucking bass there. What are you talking about?
I've seen pictures.
Yeah,
I should go there and actually play the damn thing again. I haven't seen that bass since the 90s, so
they'd probably let you. They'd probably dig it. The next time if we ever get to tour again, we go through Cleveland, we should go and check it out. And that'd be fun.
Mark, are we sick of sitting in offices? Yes, that's why I might drive to Tucson and drop this bass off.
Deliver a bass. What a great idea.
Bass and get some tacos. They have different tacos down there in Tucson than we have here.
What's up, Dean? How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, it is. It's Ellefson, Arizona now.
Ellefson,
Arizona. Where in the hell is Ellefson, Arizona? Remember that? Wait. I got something super.
Oh, what do you got? What you got, man?
I think you sent this to me. Remember? Did you?
Send it to me? I think so.
Yeah, this is it. I saw this again yesterday when I was cleaning the office, and so this was the original floppy drive that you would get when you got, I guess, the sign up. It's almost like AOL. Remember, you'd get the AOL disc, right? And you put the computer, right? I used to use AOL all the time. Like we're traveling around the world, you'd log on. I still have my AOL accounts just because they're fun, just because it's so
when I met Dave, he still was using his AOL email address, and I mercilessly harassed him until he stopped.
Because I'd log on, I go, Tom, wait for it. You've got mail. Does
it still do that? Does it still do that?
I don't think it does, because I don't even use it anymore, and now I use my Mac, my mail program here. But it's funny. I know the people. Like I was just chatting with someone today who was on AOL, so you can tell the people who are longtime veterans in the music business because they still have their AOL accounts. So
you can tell that they're old because they all have their AOL account. That's why I'm like, you're way too hip and young to have an AOL email address, Dave Ellefson.
But I got to do it just because it's. So it says to install Pop of the Diskette, double click on the Megadeth icon, double click on the Megadeth, click me, click continue and install. After the file unstuffs, double click on Megadeth Arizona. Wow, 2 meg of disk space.
I know. Well, so that is actually for the original Macintosh. That's what that. If you look, it even says right on it, Macintosh. It was for IBM. I have the same one. It was either for IBM or Macintosh. Yeah, that's what the computers were called then.
Isn't that funny?
There are a bunch of tutorials, Lucille, on our David Ellefson Youth Music Foundation YouTube page. There's a bunch of playthroughs of a couple things, and there's actually a bunch of that on the David Ellefson Youth Music Foundation YouTube.
So Bob Smith had to pick one Megadeth album that was more memorable than the others. As far as being more memorable, it's funny. Cryptic Writings is just always a sweet spot for me, and partly because we'd come home off the Euthanasia tour. We all went our separate ways for a couple months just to kind of chill out. And we got back together and we started writing it here because me, Dave, and Marty moved to Phoenix, to Scottsdale here in 1993 to make the Euthanasia record in 94. And by that point, we had a guitar tech who had moved here. So our whole operation, all of our gear, everything, the whole operation had moved here. And so when we started writing Cryptic Writings, my son was actually just born. Roman was born. So that was February 1996. And we finally regrouped to start, I think, is April 1996, which put me and my family finally on a schedule. Anybody who's got children, how that just whacks your whole schedule, and breastfeeding and all the stuff with kids, So finally being in the studio every day, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., because we started work pretty much banker hours, 10 to 5 p.m. kind of thing.
Wow.
And we started writing that record. We wrote it at a studio here in Central Phoenix. And then we went to Nashville to record it, to work with Dan Huff. First record we had made in Nashville, which was an exciting time because Dan Huff was a very well-respected guitar player. We were big fans of his work, and he had just started producing. He produced a country act named Lone Star, and Megadeth was his second production.
Lone Star again.
Lone Star, exactly. And of course, now Dan Huff has produced Faith Hill, Keith Urban Records, Taylor Swift. I mean, he's done all kinds of stuff, but you could tell. I mean, Dan was just an incredible talent. And
so part of my ignorance, where was Dan in a band? Where did he come from before?
Dan was in a band called Giant, and that's
he was in Giant. Okay.
Now, no. Here's the thing. So back in the 70s, there was a group called Toto. Those
Very
guys
familiar.
were all session musicians. Jeff Porcaro, drummer. They also played on the Michael Jackson Thriller album. They were the band for the Thriller album.
Yep.
Quincy Jones had basically the Toto guys. So by day jobs, they were studio musicians, and they made records. They made everybody's records.
Steve Lukather.
Of course, yeah. And next, kind of like 10 years or so behind them, was Dan Huff, his brother David Huff, drummer, and Mike Brignodello, bass player. And I think they also had a keyboard player. So they were the next generation of session guys, along with another guy named Michael Landau, who was like a Dan Huff, just a shredding guitar player. They were the next generation. So similar to Toto, they decided to put a band together called Giant. And I think they were actually on Giant Records. I think they had one record that was just phenomenal. Started off, I mean, it was like, it had like its eruption, Dan just shredding, and then went into a song that was a pretty big radio hit for them. And they did a couple records, and they obviously made more money and did better as studio musicians. Well, then they all the Giant guys all moved to Nashville right at the very beginning of the new country movement with Garth Brooks, Alan Jackson, Shania Twain. So Dan was playing on everybody's records. Mutt Lange did, of course, from Def Leppard fame. Producer, he produced Shania Twain, and so Dan was in Nashville, I think, about 10 years making records, maybe 5-6 years making records, and he wanted to start producing. So Megadeth was the second record he did. Our manager Bud Prager at the time had actually managed Giant, so that was the connection. Wow. And interesting, Brian Howe, singer for Bad Company, just passed away last week, and he actually co-wrote with me and Dave. He co-wrote "I'll Get Even."
Wow.
Which is actually a bass riff that I brought in. Dave wrote the lyrics. I think Bud Prager had brought Brian Howe in to co-write. We never really had outside writers. That was one record we started to experiment with it, and I think we could all agree. Out of the two records, Cryptic Writings and Risk, I think Cryptic Writings was certainly a big success. Had really great songs, was heavy enough, was still a thrashing metal record. In fact,
Risk not so much.
Yeah, Risk not so much. Went too far past the mark. But I remember we were at rehearsal at Soundstage. Now I think it's called Center Stage. And we were rehearsing for the record, and we started playing the Disintegrators, right? Right? We started like just riffing through that, and Dan started laughing. He was like, he thought we were joking around. Like, we're like, dude, like, that song's going on the record. He was like, dang, y'all playing them guitars like that. Dan was just like the nicest, sweetest guy. So anyway, long story. That's one of my favorite ones. Just because of you asked which one that was the most memorable. That's just one that had great history around it. I was in Nashville about 3 weeks, came home, and Dave and Marty stayed behind, obviously, and finished all the guitar and vocal overdubs. And I remember when Dave came over to my house here in Scottsdale, and he brought a mix of the record. And that was the first Megadeth record that when we put it on my stereo and sat and listened to that mix, that the band I heard coming out of my stereo sounded remarkably better than the band I was in. You know what I mean? It's like, Tom, like you go and you make a recording and it just sounds like someone just recorded you to a tape. You're like, where's the magic? Like, it doesn't sound like Cheap Trick. It doesn't sound like Kiss Destroyer. It doesn't sound like Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. You like these albums that like these records were always, they were astonishingly good. Right. And that record was the first Megadeth record that I sat and went, wow, like that has some real magic in it. And, Dan Huff's mix, those records have all since been remixed, of course. And, maybe one day there'll be the original versions will come back out. Yeah, the unremixed. Some of the remixes, actually, some of the bass tones a little better. Bass tones a little more. The record's a little more dry, so the bass is actually sounds a little better on some of them. But man, the Dan Huff mixes of the Cryptic Writings albums, in my opinion, are just phenomenal. Got a delivery. Hang on.
Oh, delivery. So how's everybody doing?
Under the door came chocolate chip cookies.
Wow, look at that service.
How about that? And I helped. Remember that hamburger helper?
And I helped.
And I helped. Right? I actually helped. I helped make them. I turned the oven on before. I was eating cookie dough, which, you know, if you're from the Midwest, well, I guess if you're from anywhere, you eat cookie dough. So anyway.
Yeah, I fucked up. I don't have a Monster today. Here.
Why not?
There's my product placement plug for the day for Monster. There you go.
Why not?
I don't know. I just forgot to grab one. I've got some.
Why is it so hard to find XXL Megadeth shirts? I don't know, but we always have them in Ellefson size, right? Don't we? Don't you always make?
Yeah. I'm a fat guy, so I always make big guy shirts. But yeah, I mean, I think we make up to 3 or 4X actually.
America, you're right. Shake and bake, and I helped.
Right? That's right.
So anyway.
John Marshall, yes, everything is great. There, Abigail, he acknowledged you. Are you happy? This girl keeps saying you. For the record, for the record, putting your comment on the screen is like the equivalent of not ignoring you. Like that's a win in here. That's a win.
And I see all of them. So sending love to the families, Ellison. Thank you, appreciate it. Haven't had a Monster in a month. I just remember drinking Monster when I was going on tour with Tim Ripper Owens in 2009.
Good.
I'd played on his record, so it was Tim, Simon Wright, who had played, of course, with AC/DC and Dio, and Chris Caffrey from Sabotage, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and me. And I forgot who else. There was another guitar player. I think it was one of Tim's friends. And I remember we were at his rehearsal place in Akron, and suddenly somebody broke out a bunch of Monster Energy. And there was so much sugar in it that we drank a bunch, and like an hour later, we're all laying on the couch napping, taking a nap. It was like, what's the Disney with the dwarfs, right? 7
Yeah.
Right? We were like the dwarfs napping.
You were sleepy?
Sleepy, exactly. So,
you see, that's why I drink the Monster with no sugar. All of the Monsters I have are sugar-free.
No. Steve Art, Minnesota says hello. Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, hello. You want to go bowling or no?
When I was just sitting outside, we started to do a block party now here in my neighborhood, which is nice. Get to know the neighbors. And I was just thinking about that, man. Back in Minnesota, the freaking mosquitoes would be chewing you up. Maybe not now, but another month or two.
Oh, yeah.
So
they're coming.
Yeah.
Rising Chaos. We already gave them a plug. We put up the record. We talked about them in our book. Dave helped produce some stuff on it. I think we've given them a whole bunch.
I just found.
Did you?
Yeah, yesterday when I was sifting through all my stuff.
Where's your Teams board? Speaking of which,
it's out in the other room.
Oh man,
so the office cleanse is all because I'm gonna have to put this. Not have to. I should say. Cisco as one of our sponsors and has provided this wonderful equipment and technology grant to us. So I'm going to have to move my Argentina euthanasia gold record. I'll move it over this way. And so then that opens up, of course, a whole thing of, what goes over here.
I know I have
this wall and, stuff.
So these things are, it's just 50. It's basically this little thing I have on my desk, but imagine that in a 55-inch like TV, basically. So I have to find somewhere in here to put a 55-inch screen on my wall. I don't know.
Looking right up our noses, dude. Especially you. We'll be looking up your nose here.
Well, see, I think I'm going to put it here, but I'm going to get one of those like mounts that pulls out from the wall. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the shocker poster. I'm going to move all this shit. And then I'm going to hang it right there. I don't know. Mine's coming tomorrow. So I'm trying to, the freight company called me the other day and we scheduled it for tomorrow. So yeah, I got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with mine too.
Well,
so I will be in the same boat.
Retail Gunners from Columbia. What's going on? Yeah. Well, wait till it shows up. Angela, yes, these cookies are homemade. These are compliments of Mrs. Ellison. She slid these under. I turned the oven on, pulled the cookie dough out, put them on the cookie sheet, and then said, "Oh, I got to run. I got to go do a live stream."
But yes, Brent, to answer your question, we are actually on May 30th. We are going to do another big. So it's going to be kind of a fundraiser for the foundation, but we're also, so our friend Mark Weiss wrote a new book called The Decade That Rocked, and it's all of, Mark's a really famous photographer, shot Megadeth many times, but also did the covers of like Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet, a lot of the Twisted Sister records, Stay Hungry, Come Out and Play, Suicidal Tendencies, Anthrax, I'm the Man, a lot of the Dokken records, Ozzy, God, I mean, everything, just the list goes on and on and on, Motley Crue, Skid Row. And so Mark put out a book. It's coming out June 2nd called The Decade That Rocked. This huge, like 600-page coffee table book of his photos written with our friend Rich Beanstalk. And so on May 30th, we're going to do a live stream with a ton of artists, called The Decade That Rocked, basically just a decadent celebration of all things 80s metal, So far, I think we have Don Dokken, Rudy Sarzo, Dean Davidson from Britney Fox. I mean, we like people, Jason McMaster.
Mark Storazzi from Crocus.
I know. How cool is that?
Dude, come on. You know what? I fucking love Crocus. You know what? I saw they were doing their farewell last year, and it slipped away from me. I was going to go over to the Whiskey and see them in LA because you know what? I saw Crocus, probably their first tour they did in America. It was Rainbow with Jolyn Turner as the singer.
Wow.
Pat Travers opened, and Pat Thrall had just left the band, which I was kind of bummed about.
When was that? Like 81 or 82?
Yeah, exactly. 81 or 82. And then Crocus was opening. And now here's a funny thing. So I love them. And they're from Switzerland, but they were just kind of this cool, grungy band.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the big hits, like they would then have a few years later.
Yeah.
But they were great. Good band,
Yeah.
very European feeling. But here's the funny thing. So the bass player, instead of doing a bass solo, he did a drum solo, and he had rototoms. Like, so if the drummer's playing like this over here where the hi-hat is, right? He had rototoms facing over this way. And so the bass player and the bass player basically did a rototom solo, with the drummer. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. And I ripped that idea off, admittedly, I'm telling you now, when we did the beginning of Reckoning Day live for the Euthanasia tour. That's where I got the idea. I'm coming out and using the floor tom for the digga, 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 digga.
That's awesome.
Right? That's right. That's where I got that idea. It was from Crocus, like 12 years earlier. So it all comes around. Oh, you know what's funny, dude? I heard, here's a funny story. I forgot who, maybe this was Mark Weiss that was telling us. So, in 88, I guess, right? So Motley Crue, they do Girls, Girls, Girls. And Tommy Lee has first time he does the spinning drum kit, right? Well, back in Minnesota, there was a band out in Minneapolis called Chameleon. And their keyboard player was Yanni. Like the Yanni, right? And he was just a keyboard player in the band. And they had this very kind of Bon Jovi sound, right? This sort of like She's a Little Runaway kind of sound of this band Chameleon, right? Well, the drummer, Charlie Adams, who would then later go on to play drums for Yanni when Yanni got really popular, he had a thing where he went out in the middle of the ballroom. They played Fox Lake Ballroom, by Jackson there. And he would go out and had a spinning drum kit. Right?
Really?
So, yeah. Oh, dude, it was the raddest thing. Freaking trapped himself in spinning drum kit. So years, so a few years later, this is probably 80, 81, right? 82 maybe. So, and it might even be Mark Weiss that told us this, that someone who worked for Motley, that worked for Tommy, knew somebody in that camp, in the Chameleon camp, and that's where he got the idea from.
Wow.
So we'll have to try to ask him. Yeah, because it was super rad idea.
We have some funny Chameleon stories actually in the book, I think, in More Life with Death. I think we talk about that a little bit in there. Some fuckery with you guys opening some shows and
yeah, exactly. Me and Greg Hanavit and Soul, I'm eating cookies. These are chocolate chip cookies.
And to answer your question, Abigail, no, we don't have any shows planned because the world said fuck you. We're supposed to be in Japan right now. Instead, we're in Arizona and Wisconsin talking to you. So, again,
Christian Lawrence right here, Opus, was
there he is.
going
Look
to
at
be
this
playing
guy.
drums for us over in Japan. Now he's confessing to getting caught shoplifting a Crocus album. I think if you're any good metalhead worth a shit, you've got caught stealing a record somewhere.
Dude, I've told you I got caught stealing So Far So Good So What from Kmart. Yes. I got caught stealing Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, Somewhere in Time, and So Far So Good So What. They were long box cassettes. Remember those long ass? I had just stuffed them down my pants, and I got caught.
Hey, Carl Palmer had a spinning kit. You're right, Scott. You are right about. And I wasn't really a big ELP fan back in the day, but I had heard that. Hey, hold on one second. I think I found something else you might be interested in.
Oh, go ahead. Night, Jeremy. Thanks for joining us. Learn to play bass. Yeah, there's so many playthroughs and so much cool stuff on the internet. I mean, again, you can kind of learn anything. Depends what you're trying to learn, Abigail. You know, I mean, look, you're trying to start out and just learn fundamentals, just learn the notes, learn your way around the fretboard. And again, just play along to stuff, find some playthroughs, some tabs. I mean, again, there's simple stuff. I mean, the funniest thing is like when I started playing bass, I learned like, this was 30 years ago, more, but stuff like Jane's Addiction Mountain Song and like cool, like riffy riffs that aren't that hard, Smoke on the Water, shit like that, simple stuff, and just work your way up to, I mean, that's kind of how I learned how to play guitar and bass. Of course, there was no internet then, so I was just kind of on my own, but I bought a lot of tab books then, but now you can go find tab on the internet for free. So, I think when I was a kid, I actually had a Megadeth bass tab book. I don't remember if it was Peace Cells or Rust in Peace. God, maybe it was like a compilation of Megadeth songs. Either way, I had some Megadeth tab book. God, no, dude. So Karen, so here's the greatest part of the story. So I was living with, so the police arrested me. They said they were going to take me home and tell my parents. So I told them I wasn't living with my parents. I didn't know where my parents lived. I was living with a friend and his mom. And this is my friend Jesse, who I still talk to. He works at A&W up the road. But Jesse Malcor, there's your moment. But so the cops brought me to his house where he saw me walk up with the cops. And he immediately just kind of caught on and played along. And he was like, dude, what did you do? Mom's going to kill you. And the cop was like, oh, so he lives with you? He said, yeah, he lives with me. And the cop goes, oh, okay, let me go. My parents never even found out. That's how good I was. Even when I was 15.
Shithead, it's the cops.
Pull over, shithead, it's the cops. And there, I paid tribute to that shoplifting moment every day, right above my desk.
Hey, so dude, Bill down in Tucson with this bass, it's an hour 46 from my house to his house.
Yep. I drive to Tucson all the time. Me and Melody always go to Tucson when we're down there.
Hand deliver the bass. Look what I found. I thought,
what you got?
The Pat Travers record.
Oh, funny. I still got my stack of records here from the other night when me and you and Rob from Nonpoint were talking about records. Look at this. Oh, dude, I never even showed this the other night. Look what I found. Did I show you this? Hey, Ellison, look.
Oh my God, where'd you get that? I had one of them. Is that the one from my house?
No, I paid like $80 for this. I ordered this off of eBay or some Discogs or eBay. Nope.
Giving you one here.
Well, shit. I know you wouldn't have, but do you have one of these?
Here's the Killing Machine record.
Yeah, that's the one we bought
over in Wolverhampton back in November.
And I bought this at the same store. My original pressing Nelson After the Rain. Infinitely less cool than your Judas Priest Killing Machine.
Well, look, remember you got me this Unleashed
I did.
Beast, and everybody knows that this is the album that changed my life. And then I got Les Binks to sign it.
Yeah, and KK.
Remember
KK
signed. Oh, KK did sign it. Nice.
I got it signed. I got KK and Les to sign it for you because that's how good of a friend I am.
I just got done playing a show with him, but I didn't want to fanboy on him.
I know, exactly. So, and I totally fanboyed. I'm like, here, can you sign? I told him it was for you, though. I'm like, can you sign this for David? He's too scared to ask.
I'm too scared to ask. And then, dude, you also got this one for me. Remember Stars,
which
is one of my favorite bands. This band, this was like, they were from back in like the Kiss generation. Stars, Kiss, Angel, all.
I was at the Rock and Pod Expo 3 years ago. It was not the year me and David did it together, but the year before, and David couldn't do it because you had some Megadeth commitment. And Stars and Angel were both there, who were like two of your favorite bands. So I bought that Stars record, and I'm like, hey, I work with David Ellison for Megadeth, and he's not here, and he's a huge fan. Can you sign? And they were so stoked. They're like, oh my God, we love Megadeth. Tell David we said hi, and they were so thrilled.
Remember this Montrose record?
I do. I do.
Back. It's like a teenage.
See, it should be called Made to be Mounted.
And then I remember this one. Remember, I bought these at No Name Records up in Minneapolis. Remember, 30th special.
Right? I do.
It's like all the hot, sexy records.
Dude, I love that I just basically forced you back into records, man. Like, it's great.
Oh, wait, this is the one. This is the tour when I saw. Yeah, this is the tour when I saw Pat Travers, Rainbow, and Crocus was at the St. Paul Civic Center. Name Records, $4.95. I refuse to pay any more than $10 for vinyl. I do it.
I'm at the point in my collection where all the shit I want and need is super expensive. Like all the kind of common shit I got, and then the kind of little less, but everything I collect is like 80s metal shit, and that's the hardest shit to get now. I mean, everything from Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth, King Diamond, Ozzy, Kiss, Motley Crue, all the hardest shit to find because everybody wants it. I had a little head start before it really went crazy, but now I'm at the point where all the records I need are $80, $100, $200. Like they're the rarest of the rare, Tell you what, one of the hard, shit like this, this is the kind of shit that, you get to the point where you have to get it, or this, where it's like, this is the level of shit that it's like not really, or this guy. I love this. This is my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one. We have one of those over in Lakefield at the exhibit over there.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw it there, and I was like, oh my God, I have to get one of those. I can't believe. Dude, it was actually one of the hardest to find. Countdown to Extinction. I had to order this from fucking Korea. It's a Korean, South Korean pressing. You can see the little Korean. Like they barely press it. Like U.S. pressings of this go for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Like I had to. It sounds great. It's a good pressing. It looks good, but a lot of that '90s shit you got to order from Korea or South America. That's the only.
I thought I found the So Far So Good So What ones that we were talking about the other night. Remember the ones that I had in my garage for like 20 years? Yeah,
you gave me one of them.
Yeah, that didn't melt, but it was not. It's the reissue one. Check this one. This one, BTO.
Oh wow!
So BTO is the whole reason I'm even in this whole mess called the music business and all this crap. But this was funny because this had 3 Bachmans in it. Randy Bachman, his brother. What was his name?
So it was Bachman, Turner Overdrive.
Exactly, and then they had their brother Tim Bachman was in it, and he sang on some stuff, played lead guitar. I think it was only on this one record.
It was B3TO.
It was cool. But this is the record that had Taken Care of Business, Let It Ride. I mean, it had a couple of big hits on it, man. It was a cool record. So again, $7.95.
Let me ask you this: how do you feel about ELO? Because I heard that stupid "Don't Bring Me Down" song driving home today, and I realized I really don't like them. How do you feel about ELO?
I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan when I was growing up. In fact, it's funny because Elliot, my brother, he was into them. And
I mean, to me, it's just annoying. Like, why were they like super prog outside of the singles? Like, why did people like them?
And now they're like a total Beatles rip. When you listen to them, they're like a total Beatles rip. In fact, this is a record that my brother Elliot was really into that I didn't get at the time, which I love.
Oh, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is amazing.
You know what else I bought in honor of my brother Elliot because he passed away 6 years ago? In fact, it was just his birthday on Friday. God rest his soul, but is Bay City Rollers. I remember they were
I like the bass. They actually wrote really good pop songs. I actually really like them. Thanks, Opus. Good seeing you, brother. It is fun to buy albums. Like I said, I'm at the point where everything I need in my collection is like super high-end, weird, rare shit that's expensive. Whatever. I'm a real particular about my records. Ooh, what you got? What you got?
There it is, dude. Right there.
That's a good one right there. Greatest hits.
Saturday night, right? SATUR.
Night.
Yeah, right. Weren't they from
Sounded-
Sweden?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they're like Sweden. I got to listen to this again. That's some classic stuff, right? Dude, remember this band? This is some deep stuff.
I like
from the
Axe.
80s. Remember
That's
Axe?
a good record. That's a
Rock and
good
roll
record.
party in the streets. Freaking rad.
Yeah.
That was good. And were you ever into this song? Great White covered one of their songs, Angel City.
But, yeah, I never really got into that. It was a little before my time. What did Great White cover?
They covered they did the Ian Hunter song, right? They did the Mott the Hoople song.
Yeah.
Once
Bitten, Twice Shy.
Right. What was the other big hit that they did?
Well,
They had one of their own, which was a ballad, and then they had another song, and that was
House of Broken Love was the ballad. No, God.
Yeah.
When you think of the Great White hits, Rock Me, which was not a cover.
Yeah, no.
Mr. Bone, which I don't believe was a cover. I don't know. Anybody else?
God, I can't remember. Yeah, does anybody else remember what the Great White? I guess we could look it up. Scott Sinclair, you saw BTO live and Randy broke his. I know. I got to play with Randy. Me and we're at NAMM, and he played. We played American Woman and Taking Care of Business, and I called Jimmy DeGrasso because I knew Jimmy could just walk in and bang it with no rehearsal. Angel. What was the song, man? What the hell was it? Rock Me? Was Rock Me?
No.
It doesn't Rock Me.
Okay, hang on. I'm getting here. Hang on. Is it? Actually, maybe it might actually be the. It actually might be the Angels you're thinking. I don't know. I'm trying to see. I can't. Yeah, they did 2 The Angels covers on Shot in the Dark, which was like their album before they got big. I don't know. I can't find anything.
Face the Day.
Oh,
Face the Day. Was that it?
Oh.
Face the Day?
No, yeah, that's the Angels, though, I think. Or wait, no, the Angel City. I see. I'm
Angel
so confused.
City.
Yeah, maybe the Angels became Angel City.
Maybe, yeah, Angel City. That's Face the Day, right?
Yeah, but then that was actually on the album before they got big. That was on Shot in the Dark, which was before. That was like the album right before they got big, basically.
Yeah. And so when I was back in Minnesota, me and Greg Handeva, we'd always play Angel City songs in our bands. Any plans to jam with Chris Poland? Bob Smith, yes. We're supposed to be in Japan and Australia next week jamming with Chris Poland. But
no, right now we're supposed to be in Japan and Australia jamming with Chris Poland.
Was it where the shows? That's right. The show we're supposed to leave last week.
Yeah, we're supposed to leave Friday, basically. I was supposed to fly through LA on Saturday. Yeah, we're supposed to be.
So we'll do that again. We actually jammed. We had Chris come up. We put out Return to Metalopolis on Combat. But we will.
And I'm actually writing some stuff with Chris. Me and Chris are going to do a little record together, I think, too, at some point if we ever get around to it.
Yeah.
So
Face the Day. That's it. Yep. Mr. Bone and Shot in the Dark.
Mr. Bone was the greatest bass line. It was like it was such a cool groove.
Was that Tony Montana who played bass on that? Was he
Tony Montana? I'd say hello. Say hello to my little friend.
And it's funny, who is the keyboard player? He lives here.
Michael Lardy.
Michael Lardy. He's a great musician, and I think didn't he produce some of that stuff?
I think he did.
I think he's a great musician.
I know that one record, Shot in the Dark, I think Don Dokken actually produced it, the one we were just talking about.
Really? Yeah. And it looks like Don will be on our webcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Don will be there. That's going to be cool.
May 30th. Save the date.
Save the date. Yeah. And yeah.
It's gonna be cool, man. I'm excited. I mean, some of the people we're getting for that thing, and again, they're just kind of every day, just more people are like, yeah, and it'll be fun, man. The other one was other ones were more general. This is gonna be all focused on the 80s. So I think it'll be really. We're gonna show some videos, and again, Anarchy in the UK was a great cover.
Scrab Lord's asking if we're going to come to Houston or Humble, Texas. Yes, we will.
Eventually.
Yeah, we will. And again, everything's kind of up in the air. Me and Tom actually had some stuff we're going to do back in the Midwest in August. What was happening with that show? We were supposed to do like a horror con or something, right? Is all that?
I think everything in the world is canceled. Hi, Tommy Bowen. What's up, dude?
Yeah. Hey,
Doro
Tommy,
in the house.
Dude, Tommy, it's so funny. Yesterday I was listening to Hair Nation and I heard All We Are by Doro, which is when Tommy toured with us. It was So Far So Good, So What? All we are. All we are, we are, we are all we need, right? Isn't that the chorus? And That was when Tommy and I met, and your counterpart, is it the other Tommy who plays with Alice Cooper now? Right? Tommy Fredrickson?
Tommy
Fredrickson?
Henriksen.
Henriksen, yep. So yeah, great time, wasn't it? It was cool. So it was Sanctuary opened, which was a band David produced, who then became Nevermore.
Dave produced Sanctuary?
Yeah, he produced the very
Really?
with who is the producer from Seattle?
Which one?
Pantera and
Terry Date.
Terry Date was. I think he engineered. Yep, I think he engineered or co-produced it with, and then Dave got asked to come in and.
Yes, me and Dave will go everywhere possible when we can. I promise. Everybody is now asking, like, literally their specific cities. Yes, the answer is yes. Wherever you are, we will hopefully come to you soon enough. Yeah, Tommy. One of these days we got to get you on one of these. Maybe you should jump on this. You should shoot me an email, Tommy, or IM me or something. Send me your email address. Maybe we'll get you on this one. I was actually going to hit up Doro about it too. I don't know if Mark Weiss already did, but you and Doro should come on this thing we're doing with Mark Weiss on the 30th. That'd be awesome.
Hey, I think I'm going to jump. I got a cookie to eat, and I got to get up tomorrow, get a couple things going, and I'm actually working on another one of our songs. So I want to get that bass part done, and I got to get with Andy since Andy's 9 hours ahead of me. So Andy, Martin Jelly, over the
I'll
weekends,
work and no play. Makes David Doughboy.
Photos. He sends me like cannolis and pasta because he's in Italy and he knows we're foodies around here. But yeah, I got to get with him. He's got a couple little. He wrote this little opening riff to that song, and I'm like, I told him, I go, what song is this? It's like, I know I sent you these riffs, but I don't recognize the song. I remember I was really tired one morning. I woke up and I'm sitting on my couch with my acoustic guitar, shooting videos and sending them to Andy, and then he whipped it into a song. So anyway, all right, look, let me jump. Good to see everybody. Hey, put up the link one more time for the eBay auction.
I will.
Thank you, everybody, for your support on all that stuff that just goes to help keep the David Ellison Youth Music Foundation going, so we can continue bringing these lessons to the schools out in Michigan.
Please feel free to call your local radio stations and request Over Now, because they will probably play it.
Yep. Very cool. Yep. Rocket.
You can also check it out on Spotify and everywhere else too. Take care, guys.
See you guys in a couple of days. See ya. Bye.